signal after a while. Went to
I want to hear about the Tuskegee Airmen first.
Went to Lincoln Air Force Technical
Okay.
Training School. There were about 10 of us. On about January the 3rd, 1942, 43. 1943, January 3rd, 1943. We were called, those 10 of us from that work battalion were called to go and become professionals now. We could become engineers, some all mechanics from scratch. And could they teach you? Got in Lincoln, Nebraska, and they treated us pretty raw. They got on the train overnight, then came the next day Lincoln, and they picked us up, took us out to the base, and took us not too far from the center of town here. Of course, the base still was segregated. If you try to go up to the PX about something, I never did go. Once I heard what happened, I said, I don't confront stuff like that. See, I'd already had a problem. I won't talk about it. A problem in the South and got all beat up, and, you know, because I resisted being segregated. I never did go to the PX then. I had guys to pick up stuff for me, and they did. They really did. And while I was there, it was a class of about 500 of us that had been selected from from all the way across the country. There were about 10 from my school, my aviation squad, from colleges and things like that. Guys who couldn't pass the aviation cadet exam. Some had degrees and all, and we just went through that. In 6 months, we were aircraft mechanics. We had learned everything about 13 different aircraft, fighter planes, and a couple of bombers, B-25, B-26, a couple of bombers, United States Air Corps. We knew everything about them from nose to, like I said, from nose to tail, and from wingtip to wingtip. I still remember a little of it. But we had to learn everything about it, and we went through that school. There was one black class in that whole 86 Aviation Squadron was our squadron. In Buckler Field, but here was the 789th. See how things leave me? 789th Technical Training Squadron. 789th Technical Training Squadron. That's just about as popular as the 99th among Tuskegee Airmen, because they know where they got all of the ground crew for the 99th, not the 99th, they were earlier. They trained them down in Tuskegee. But when we graduated in June 1943, well, we had a major there named Major Fox, and all our officers there were white. I hadn't ever been under a black officer at all. Major Fox, an old school teacher from Kentucky, Colonel. We was a major, but we called him Colonel Fox. He was like a fantastic guy. He said, "You're going to be the best students in this damn school, whole school." And he proclaimed us the best when we left there, because he didn't cut any corners. I'm telling you, calisthenics and things like that, you did them. You did everything. You were physically fit. You were physically fit, just as though up to your capabilities. Some didn't have their eyesight and stuff to be pilots and all. And I was worried about my eyesight. I said, I had 20/20, but I hadn't taken the physical yet. I didn't know if I'd pass it. Well, anyway, we graduated in June 1943 and came into Detroit, Michigan. Forgetting whether it's Detroit or Chicago or whatnot. I forget everything. We came into Detroit, Michigan on the train one night, and guess what? The whole place was shot up. Check it. That was in last of June, in June 1943. There were riots in the streets. Black folks were burning and shooting up Woodward Avenue and everywhere. We could not get off the train. We stayed on that train for. Now I think I stayed on a couple of days. No, I think it was only a few hours before some convoy of trucks came down from Selfridge Field, Michigan, up in Mount Clemens, Michigan, up near the lakes. That's where we were going. Came down and got us off of that train using rifles and all. And I remember we didn't know where we were going to get shot. The disturbance was north of downtown, or from the train station. It was north up on Woodward Avenue, the mostly black community and all. They were burning it up and shooting and doing everything. That was one of the. And so they got us up to Selfridgefield, Michigan, I guess, which is, let me get this right, must be about 40, 50 miles north of Mount Clemens, north of Detroit. There's Selfridgefield, and that's where we did all of our training up there. When we got to Selfridgefield, there was an old colonel there named Colonel Selway. He was a racist. He was something. But at least he treated us with militarily the way he had to do, and we didn't push him too much. I was with the group there just before we left. We were going to integrate the officers in NCO's club, and of course, I might well cut some things short. Colonel B.O. Davis would not let us because he said, no, we just can't do that now. So we've got something to prove. When I say Colonel Davis took over from Colonel Selway, who was all white. And Colonel Davis was the first black officer that I had over me, Colonel Bill Davis Jr. If you know the history of him, he had already gone to West Point and been denied for 4 years. Nobody spoke with him. No roommate, no nothing. They tried to get him to quit. And then he had already done that, and he ended up in the infantry down at in Georgia. What's the name? See, I can't name the field in Georgia, but that's where he was. He was in Georgia, not too far from Tuskegee, up in North Georgia, and he was in the infantry. One time he spent a little while in the cavalry. They didn't know what to do with him. He graduated at West Point, the first one to graduate in the century, doing the century, black person from West Point. Colonel Bill Davis Jr. his name. These pictures up there with me somewhere, right? So he had gone overseas. He had trained a pursuit squadron, all black, in Tuskegee. They had gone overseas at about the same time I graduated. He was coming back from North Africa to take charge of us, to form the 332nd Fighter Group. See, this squadron, pursuit squadron, had gone over there. I'm skipping a lot. These guys had gone over there and raised sand. They had taken those P-40 aircrafts that they had and shot down some. Yeah, they had shot down some. They hadn't done too much shooting down when he came back, because the shooting down that they did happen when we were on our way going overseas. But what happened was, he had orders that he could come back and appear before the Congress. He had to come back and justify the actions of the 99th. Some pilots in the 99th deviated from their orders, sort of, and went out to shoot down some aircraft and got shot down themselves because they made the whole squadron vulnerable. They didn't, and they just weren't together. They weren't together because when they got over there, it's a long story to that. When they got over there, they got in. There was no squad, no group would take them. They had a little squadron. Squadron only about 16 airplanes. Well, it is 16. Was 16 airplanes. Four flights in a squadron, and four flights in a squadron. And each flight had 4 aircraft. That's all. P-40s they had, the P-40Ls. Well, they were attached. They finally found a group over there that would have let them become attached to that group. A group consists of 3 squadrons. They found one white squadron over there, group that would accept them. And now the white group would have to have 4 squadrons. And he didn't nurture the 99th pilots at all. Didn't give them the flight briefings properly. He had helped briefing at 0700, and when they get that 0700, they'll see a sign there saying 0600. And these guys are gone. Now how can that be? They did that consistently over there. So they just had to find their targets and do their own little thing, but they were successful. Bill had come back to form the 332nd Fighter Group as a result of their accomplishments overseas, which was proven have to be or appear before Congress. He appeared